What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants. No hate. So, I watched an interview with Robert Garcia, and I've learned a long time ago, people love to say things that wasn't actually said, or they'll take the intentions of what someone said and twist it. I've heard people say, oh, Robert Garcia was hating on Terrence Crawford once again, right? I'm trying to understand what they were talking about. I watched the interview. I checked to see the longest duration of the interview that I saw. So I don't see how anybody else saw what I didn't see. I mean, what I saw was what's posted. So, once Fight Hype gets it, Fight Hub gets it, all these other channels copy it or whatever. Okay, well, anyway, Robert Garcia, they were talking about Bam and like who could he possibly fight, at 115 pounds that would get him more stardom. And, like the interviewer said, I've been saying this for years, man. Like those little guys, it's really hard to make stars out of those guys, man. It's like nobody's really interested in boxers that damn small. So you have to really have something about you that they get into. So he was saying like maybe possibly he's saying basically if nothing's going on at 115, he's saying that Bam gets motivated by fighting real competition. So the biggest challenge would be, and the accomplishment would be, to become undisputed. And then from there, go up to 118. Now, the interviewer asked him, does he see him versus Inoue? And he says, well, you never know, because by the time Bam goes up to, let's say, if you're talking 122, that might be another 3 years, or whatever he says. And by then, who knows? Maybe Inoue might go up to 130. Like, who knows by then? So, and he basically spoke about Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis. And he's saying that, look, Virgil is at 154, and Boots is still at 147. It's very possible, yeah, if Boots ends up coming to 154, then yeah. I mean, hey, why not? Now, when Terrence Crawford's name was brought up, he basically said the same thing I've been telling you guys. And what I've been telling you guys is based on exactly what Terrence Crawford said. When Crawford was asked about who does he really want to fight, Crawford said, plain and simple, and you all saw that video, he wants a rematch with Errol Spence, a fight with Canelo, and that's it. Now, Terrence Crawford just turned 37 years old, September 28th. The fans don't know how to separate their beliefs from fantasy, and fantasy from what's really actually on the mind of the fighter. So at the end of the day, when you look at 154, all we keep hearing about is a possible fight. Like 1 minute we're hearing the Spence versus Fundora. The next week somebody's talking about Crawford versus Fundora. It's official. This person versus Fundora. This person versus this person. This person versus that person. Okay. This is just people running their mouths, just making videos just to make them. The reality of what Crawford is telling you guys is real simple. Like when he said he's at the point he can do whatever he wants. He don't care what nobody thinks. Fuck him. Remember that video? Okay. Do you really think Crawford is coming up to 154 to fight another 10 times or whatever? See, this is the Crawford fans that want to see him pass that 50-0 by Floyd Mayweather. That's all that is. It's a bunch of silly shit. People try to plan your future for you. Crawford is 41-0, right? Crawford, like, what Robert Garcia was saying, he doesn't have anything to prove. Like, he doesn't have to fight anybody else, but that's up to him. But he wants the Canelo fight, and if he gets it, then he'd take it. He says he talked to Crawford himself, personally. And this is the point of what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just greed, and then sometimes it gets to that point where it's like, okay. See, for all you guys that keep saying, you want to see him pass Floyd, okay, whatever. Okay, let's say he's not, but let's say if he did. So what? Okay, accomplishment, that's all. It's like people want to be able to put someone over somebody else. What does it mean? You could beat Floyd's record. That doesn't mean you beat Floyd. Just saying. But this is what they want. Crawford isn't trying to fight another 10 fights, another 9 fights in this case. He's not trying to do that, man. And if you think about it, he went from saying he wanted to become undisputed at 154 pounds. And then one minute he's saying he's not thinking about Canelo. The next minute he's talking about the Canelo fight. The next minute, so it's look, him getting that Canelo fight is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. For that fight to actually take place, let's just be real. It would have to be money put up that I don't think the fight is worth. Crawford gonna have to look really bad, but be in a good position for Canelo to take that fight. Yeah. Or it's just gonna be a situation of Canelo basically doesn't need Crawford for one. They're in 2 different weight classes. He doesn't need him. Crawford doesn't need Canelo, but he wants the Canelo fight. You understand what I'm saying? He doesn't need it, though. He wants it. Fact of the matter is, what does he gain? Him fighting against, let's say, for example, Jermell Charlo. Is the Charlos even going to fight anymore? If he fights Jermell Charlo, okay, Canelo just beat Jermell Charlo in his last fight. Yes, it was at 168, but the way Jermell Charlo went out, people don't even care. So it's not like they're going, okay, but at 154, he's still going to be the same Jermell Charlo. So it does nothing really, other than it's just a fight with the guy that just got schooled, you know, by Canelo. Then, you know, in boxing with all this, oh, he fought a guy coming off of a loss. Now for the Crawford fans, they wouldn't make that excuse for him, of course. But at the same time, I think that, you know, people, well, I know that people say things just to say it. They have this thought in their head because they have a thought. Now it has to come into fruition because they thought it. I don't understand where the hate came from. I didn't see anything that Robert Garcia said that sounded like any hate to me. What I believe people were referencing when they said that Robert Garcia was hating on Terrence Crawford as usual, I think what they was referring to was when the interviewer asked Robert Garcia, how does he think the fight goes? And he says he think like the first 6 to 8 rounds that Crawford puts up a good fight, but he think eventually Canelo's just too big and too strong and he eventually wins. And I think that's what the part they're talking about. Because I didn't hear anything in that interview where he said anything derogatory about Crawford. And the thing about it, like I said about Anthony Joshua, fans will get you knocked out. That's any fan, any fighter. These fans don't understand where you are mentally, physically. They don't understand how you feel about what you're doing. They just want to see something. They want to see you break a record. They want to see this. They want to see that. And Crawford isn't trying to fight 9 more times, man. I mean, if you look at it, right? If Crawford had that kind of star power, like Canelo, where he could just bump people, where he'd be fighting Fundora. You understand what I mean? He would be fighting for unification. He would, you know, and Crawford said if things go his way in 3 fights, he'll be undisputed champion. Does it look like things are going that way to you? Now, he just turned 37 years old. Now, you might look at a person and think that they can do something forever. But the reality is Crawford already said, bottom line, he just wanted a rematch with Errol Spence and he wanted a fight with Canelo. Why? Because out of everybody that Crawford could possibly fight, those are the 2 most lucrative fights. Those 2 fights right there. And guess what? To be perfectly honest with you, nobody really cares about a rematch with Spence. Hell, Spence probably don't even care about the rematch anymore because, you know, Spence is talking about Fundora, but you don't hear him talking about Crawford. You don't hear anything. And we don't even know what's going on with Errol Spence. Despite all the people talking about the fight's been pushed, and even Spence has said the fight just been postponed, that's all. But we don't even hear anything. We don't see anything about him training. Nothing. Nothing. So, for that to be the case, that leaves Crawford with looking at who's available, just some stay busy fights. You think Crawford want that at this stage in his career? No. No. He was hoping that he could come up from 147 to 154, and because of what he accomplished at 140, then again at 147, that, you know, he would be able to at least be in demand, high demand, for where he can get the fights with the top level dudes, and it's just not happening that way. So listen, man, I didn't hear any hate in that. You know, if I spot something, I have no problem admitting what I hear and see. But I think people were saying that just because Garcia said he picks Canelo to win eventually. But listen, take the fanboy stuff out of it. We're not focused on somebody's opinion of who they think will win a fight. The reality of him saying Crawford may never fight again is because it's real simple. Crawford don't want to have these little in-between fights. He wants to have big money fights. He's not going to get the kind of money he wants fighting against anybody else. And let's just be real. Even for David Benavidez, who's at 175 now. David Morrell is 175. He never called their names. Those guys are just too big, man. Like, let's just be real. Him going up to 168, he didn't call out nobody but Canelo. That's the lottery fight. And what people fail to realize, man, like, you see, the one thing is, and this is one thing about fans. This is why you can't listen to fans. Fans can be fools, man. You can't listen to people that don't think logically. People want to see him break Floyd's 50-0. Floyd beat Canelo, so they want to be able to say Crawford did both. He beat Canelo and broke Floyd's record. They want to be, see, this is the way little childish, kitty-minded, fanboys think. Let's look at Andre Ward, for example. He ended, what was the record, 34-0 or something like that? So he'd have a much longer way to go to break Floyd's record than Crawford. Nobody was talking about that same thing when it came to Crawford. I mean, to Andre Ward, right? But at the same time, if his career has nothing to do with Floyd's. Crawford's career has nothing to do with Ward's or Floyd's, and vice versa. Everybody has their own path that they follow, and this is where we going. This is what I did. This is what he did. Look, I say this for Crawford because I know where his head is. I'm listening to him talk, and I hear what he say, but I see the people react differently. I agree with Robert Garcia. If Crawford decides he wants to fight again, hey, that's on him. Hey, but that's the thing. Crawford, like I said, he doesn't want these little in-between fights. He doesn't want these little stay-busy fights. He wants to go in there with nothing but big money, top dollar, and he's only going to get that from Spence and from Canelo. And let's just say he sticks around. And let's say Spence fights somebody else, but he loses. Like he's supposed to be fighting Fundora, right? Say he loses. Spence fight is off the table because there's no money in that now. So now does he follow through with just trying to be undisputed? Because my point is, it doesn't matter who Crawford beats at 154 pounds. That's not going to get him a fight with Canelo. He has to look shot like, okay, I can see, look, all Crawford has to do is become even more flat-footed. That's it. His movement is not, he's still sharp. But I'm not gonna, I'm not doing this video to break down the skill levels and all that. I'm not here to even talk about who I think would win. I already told y'all what I think about that fight. But bottom line is what I'm saying. I don't think Canelo wants to fight Crawford is not because, he's just too small and I'm not gonna get no credit. Because the same way, if Beaver would have said the same thing to him, or the other Russian dude that he knocked out, if either one of them would have said that, they'd have been saying, they don't want to fight Canelo. They know they can't beat Canelo. That's why they're making that excuse. I think that Canelo has that fear of slick boxers, man. I think he has that fear of slick boxers. I don't think that it has nothing to do with he's too small. His excuse for not fighting Benavidez is Benavidez has done nothing. He's only beat one champion. What did Jaime Munguia do? What did Edgar Berlanga do? So then he turns around and he don't want to fight Mexicans. Well, what was Jaime Munguia? You understand? So, you know, all these different excuses, and I don't believe that nonsense about Crawford's too small. That's his excuse. Although I do think it will play a factor in the fight. Bottom line, if Crawford looks like he's slipping, but let's say somebody's willing to throw the type of money that Canelo wants for that fight, I feel like that's the only way that would happen. Canelo he doesn't want another loss. He doesn't want to lose. He wants to go out on top. He doesn't want another loss. For Crawford, it's all about the payday. Right now, I mean, come on. The dude ends up, of all the things that Crawford wouldn't do to promote himself, right? You know, start a podcast or have his own social media where he's, you know, doing live streams and doing, like, you know, he ends up going to do an episode of WWE Raw. A 154-pound guy and with these big dudes. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, so he did that, and look at his age. And this is what I'm saying. This is what fighters start to do as they start to get older. And even for the younger ones, if they can get them on there while they're still young and fresh. I mean, we seen Muhammad Ali in the WWF at the time. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, when he punched Matt Hardy in the face. You know, Mike, when he punched Shawn Michaels in the face, ended up joining DX and all of that type of stuff. And so, no different. Floyd Mayweather. So this is what I'm saying. So all of these little things that you see, what do you think it's for? To try to get a different demographic of fans that normally wouldn't watch you. Oh, okay, that's Terrence Crawford. Okay, what? I don't know how well it worked, you know, but at the end of the day, listen, for Crawford, he really doesn't have anything else left to prove. He did what he did in his era. One thing you have to always understand, everybody don't have the same, you know, time frame to do their work in. You understand what I mean? It depends on when your popularity escalates or what you do different to put yourself in those situations and stuff like that. So, you know, to be the main eventer. And Crawford started to get those things, you know, he was already undisputed champion at 140 and then did it again at 147. But like, even what he's doing now, look, come on. He's approaching 40. He's 3 years away from 40. And, you know, the other thing is, you know, Floyd retired at 38. And his last fight as an active fighter, he made $300 million in one night. And this is all the type of shit, what I'm saying, that fanboys hold on to, and they want to see somebody outdo Floyd. And that's all this shit is. You know, Canelo fans wish that, you know, Canelo could do something different where he could end up, you know, being put on a higher pedestal than Floyd. Well, he won this and he did that and he won more titles in it, and this is what they try to reach for. But they try to do the same thing with Manny Pacquiao. But Floyd beat him too. You understand what I mean? So it doesn't matter who else you beat, you couldn't beat him. And so, being that Floyd and Crawford never fought, this is a whole, oh, well, we can't say that about Floyd because he never fought. And this is the type of conversations. You hear people talk, you see people, their different YouTube channels, their little podcasts, and they just like, they love to just make up these fantasy fights and make up stuff in their head and try to make a beginning and an ending for it. But what does Crawford have left to prove? Nothing. Nothing. He's just doing, he wants the big lottery ticket fight. And I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. I just don't. And not to mention, you know, for a man that's already made his mind up about what he wants to do, and his plan B being, okay, unify and become undisputed at 154. His plan B. His plan A is Canelo. So you understand what I mean? His plan B would be that, or nothing at all. Just walk away. So, I mean, when you look at who's there, man, the worst thing that Crawford can do to himself is get to the point where he's unsure, uncertain about what he wants to do. He's at a crossroads because I want Canelo. I can't get that fight. All right, I want it. Now I might as well just go for you know, undisputed or whatever it may be. And, you know, look, let's not play stupid, man. You know, we just saw Tim Tszyu just lose. So after Fundora fight, it's like, okay, but Tim got cut against Fundora, so he lost, had blood in his face the whole fight. So guess what? Tim Tszyu still there, but then Tim just got sparked out bad. So Tim Tszyu fight gonna spark no interest with Terrence Crawford. Jermell Charlo, he's missing in action. So who do you have left that people even care to see? And I don't know what's going on with Errol Spence, to be honest with you. So Fundora is not because it's a good fight. It's because, well, who's holding the title right now? So basically, the only thing that would happen is Terrence Crawford could wind up becoming undisputed in a weak division. 154 is not deep right now either. You know, and look, when you look at who's there and look at how nobody even talks about 154 at this point. It's not a hot division. So Crawford would be able to do that. Okay, cool. He could say, I made history. I became 3-time undisputed champion in 3 different divisions. Cool. But you know, to motivate yourself to fight against guys that's not really bringing the best out of you, and you should be able, I don't care who you're fighting, you should be able to motivate yourself. If a guy's 0-50 or 50-0, prepare for that guy the same exact way that's 0-50 as you would for the guy that's 50-0. But just saying, for Crawford, man, I just feel like Crawford, he's done everything that he needs to do. Greed can, you know, that one fight too many, you can go out there and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It can happen. But I just feel like for Crawford, where he is, what he's done, he's done what he's done already. Simple. As far as, you know, we know different people at times they can, yeah, they show hate the people, whatever. But I didn't catch any hate. As far as that goes with Robert Garcia, and yeah, he just basically spoke his mind, and but I didn't hear him say anything to like try to like belittle Terrence Crawford, man. Like I said, I think that was just the Crawford fans just saying he was hating because he picked Canelo to win the fight overall. And as far as Jermaine Ortiz, you know, or Jerron Boots Ennis, well, Jermaine Ortiz is already at 154. I don't think that's a fight that Crawford wants to entertain. They both were at 147, the fight never happened. Him and Boots is at 147, the fight never happened. And for Boots, Boots still is not the money man yet. If he's going to become that guy, he's not that guy yet financially. So that's another fight that's not going to happen because, like I said, Crawford just want to make the big cash payout and go. He said it out of his own mouth. So I don't know why these fans are just so delusional. And y'all see him fighting a whole nother 9 times or whatever. Like, I mean, you know, he'll be well past 40 by then, right? So just saying, this is not what Terrence Crawford is saying he wants to do. This is what the fanboys are saying he wants to do. Or what they want him to do, rather. So I just feel like for, you know, who's out there right now, I'm looking to see what Boots is going to do from now on. Because at some point, like Crawford said of himself, he's at the tail end of his career. So, yeah. I mean, whatever he does is what he does. But I'm more interested now to see what Boots is going to do. And Boots already said if he can't get undisputed, can't get the fights he need at 147, he's just going to 154. That still doesn't mean that Crawford accepts the fight. You know, and I feel like between Boots and Jermaine Ortiz, that's probably going to be the fight of that division that is going to stand out. Because, like I said, I don't know what Charlo's doing. Spence, I don't know, man. Like the type of ass whooping he took and the fact he hasn't been in the ring since then. And we hear nothing about Spence training. Nobody saying anything about how he's looking in the gym. Nothing. All you hear is, like I said, rumors about a fight that's supposed to be happening. So I don't know, man. And like, for anybody to say what Spence has done in the past, okay, right, we know what he's done in the past. But judging by his last fight, well, I'm saying, let's not be stupid. Terrence Crawford is not the only person that would have beat Spence that night. Winging punches. I mean, you could telegraph his punches, amateur like that. I mean, he fought really bad. And Crawford just picked him apart. And Spence made it that much easier because Even when he was trying to jab and trying to double jab, and he wasn't doing it right. And the one thing that Errol Spence always said that I never liked was, I could box and stuff and like use my jab, all that. That's boring to me. And I told y'all, that's a lack of discipline. That very mindset will kick in when you don't need it to, and it kicked in when he fought against Crawford. In fact, if you even look at, for him to even say he can box and jab and move, and we've seen him do it against Mikey Garcia. He got criticized because he didn't get a knockout, whatever. But we've seen him box and move and all of that against him when he didn't have to. But at the same time, when he fought Sean Porter, let's go back to him saying to Terrence Crawford, go get a belt. Remember, he told him, you too light in the ass, man, you too small. I'll beat him, that's what they gonna say, you too small, right? And he told him, go get a belt, then we can fight. What does Crawford do? He goes and get a belt, and then he goes, why, Sean Porter got a belt too, right? Why not take the easy route and fight Sean, right? Okay, what is he saying to you? Why not take the fight that's less of a risk and go fight Sean instead of you? That's basically what he's saying. But look at how he fought that fight. And he said Sean Porter got the kind of style that even if you wanted to box, you can't, man. Then that means you didn't master your craft, bro. Because even for a guy to sit down on his punches more, and here goes Spence being a big puncher, right? But for a guy to sit down on his punches more and mix it up more than what he, used to doing, and a master of his craft don't let you dictate this pace, man. People, what about Ali, Frazier, Dylan Manila? Yeah, the difference in that fight was both of them had slowed down enough to where Ali had to fight more than what he wanted to, and Frazier, that's all he knows, is coming forward trying to take you out. So that's why that fight went the way it did. Plus, Ali wasn't scared to bang. Ali knew he could if he had to. But his first choice was to hit and move, And when he could no longer stick and move like he used to, he had to bang more. That's what that was, And for Errol Spence, let's look at it now. What is he now? 34, 35 at least, something like that? So it's what I'm saying, man. You're still looking at these guys like they got another 15, 20 years left in the sport. I just don't see like what's going on with these guys where, I know with the Charlos, just different things going on in people's lives personally, but the sport of boxing to me, man, it's like everything is money driven, and the fight itself, the thrill of the competition it's just not, it's not what it used to be. It's all about, I know I have to win because I want to make this money, so I know I have to win, but I'm just not really fired up to going in, it's not happening enough, man. And even for guys, like I said, you got guys that don't even have 10 fights, and then they're trying to get $20 million per fight and stuff like that. Like, seriously, man, you're not even a draw. Your hell is going to pay you $20 million, right? So all of these things that play a part, Crawford has seen all of this shit already, man. And like I said, unfortunately for him, as far as the money he's trying to get now, he waited a little bit too late to start to, now, as far as him getting the fight with Canelo and all that. Nah. And if you notice, man, Canelo don't fight slick boxers, man. The last guy that he fought that was somewhat of a slick boxer, it was Caleb Plant. But Caleb has his stamina issues, and everybody knows that. And we know that Caleb Plant still, when he gets tired, he starts to get hit by everything. So, anyways, that's the type of things that people they don't look at reality. They just look at what somebody did 15 years ago. Like, yeah, remember, that was 15 years ago, okay? So wear and tear adds up, it changes. It's just like your car, right? Your car, you jumped in it when it's brand new, and yeah, that car still can ride smooth, but you notice there's a difference in the way the car ride. You maintain it, keep it up, it'll last a lot longer than if you don't. You're getting them oil changes on time, you're getting those tires checked, you're getting full service on your car. It'll keep going, but you notice it ain't what it was. It's not the same exact car as it was, And hey, listen, stop treating human beings like it's machinery or something, man. Like, this man has done what he's done, and I wouldn't base what I do on somebody else's career. I wouldn't base what I do on somebody else's record. I remember Roy Jones made the comment about how, he wanted to be only the second man to go up to heavyweight, win the title, and then come back down to light heavyweight and win the title back. And, you know, he came now, he beat Tarver in the first fight, you know, and he was winded, he was gassed out. You know, that second fight was only because, you know, for the people that were saying he lost. So now, all right, they want me to, they saying I lost. All right, I'm going to show him, right? And what did he do? He went in the rematch and he got knocked out. Now, you're a fighter. Shit comes with the territory. But he went in and he got knocked out. And that was the end of Roy Jones. Roy would never be the same after that fight. So when I tell you, you can't fight for these fucking fans. Remember when Rolly Romero, what's the dude name? Jackson Martinez or whatever, when he fought him, and most of us felt like Rolly lost that fight, but Rolly got the decision. And Rolly, man, you run it back, I don't care. You see, he never fought him again, all right? And whether Rolly wanted to or not, I guarantee you bulletin numbers like, yo, Rolly, you don't need this fight, man. Forget these people. People gonna always talk. Even if you knock this dude out, then they gonna say he was a bum, so it don't matter. Y'all don't understand this, man. Fighters themselves stay away from certain fighters, but also they got their team advising them because they feel like the fighter can be stupid and take on more than they need to. Y'all don't understand that shit by now. And for Terrence Crawford, for him to keep saying Canelo's name, then when I ain't thinking about Canelo, oh, I'm moving on, I'm going to do this. Crawford don't want a whole lot of fights, man. At some point, you just, like I say, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And at some point, it's like, why are you still doing this? For what? Like, who else is there? How many divisions you going to go up in? And then the one guy that you want to fight at 168 don't want to fight you. So what do you have left? So, yeah, this is what I'm saying. His plan B. What did he say at first? Well, he talked about going to 154. He wanted to become undisputed at 154. He said 3 fights, he'll be undisputed. He already had one. And basically, after that one, right? Let's look at it. After that one, right? Who has he fought since then? You see, he's trying to get Canelo. And you look at who's still there. It's just a bunch of fights, man, that really, it's like, you know, you could have did this, you could have did that. This would have been a good fight at one point in time. You know, the Charlo fight slipped away. Everything else just it's just fights. That's it. I mean, if he beat Fundora, is anybody really amazed? No. Anybody shocked? No. If he beat Spence again, is anybody shocked or amazed? No. He destroyed him the first time. You know, if he beats Tim Tszyu, is anybody shocked? No. So bottom line is, he already is in a division now where none of these guys that he want to fight are undefeated like he is, or even viewed the same way as him, or even on his level. So this is why the last fight he had, they're trying to pump that guy up and tell you that he's better than Canelo. I heard a couple of channels of that bullshit. He's better than Canelo. He's better head moving than Canelo. He this, he that. Hey, bro, stop. Canelo would knock that fucking guy out. Stop. And you want to fucking tell me, here's the crazy thing. Like I said, if Crawford was to fight Canelo, I'd be pulling for Crawford 100% to win. But, you know, here's the thing. Y'all think that this motherfucker at 154 pounds was a huge threat to Terrence Crawford, but somehow y'all think he smoked Canelo. Y'all really believe that. And y'all really believe that that guy that Crawford just beat is better than Canelo as well. Right. That's why he's a great unknown. That's why he was only, how many fights? He had 11 fights and was world champion at that weight class. Stop, y'all. And for him to be considered the best at the weight, nah, stop. All that shit was being said simply because this is who Crawford was fighting. This was a promotional tool to try to make this guy to be better than what he is. So after Crawford wins, it's like, oh shit. Now they looking at Crawford like, yo, he's just as good as Canelo, or he's better than Canelo pound for pound. He's on the pound for pound list. But guess what? Notice how it doesn't make a difference if you number one on the pound for pound, or people think you better, but who's the money man? And who needs who for the fight? You see what I'm saying? And this is what y'all not understanding. So for Crawford, he'd just be fighting just to fight. Just to say, okay, I made another accomplishment. But there's nobody at 154 that he can beat that nobody really cares about, man. In fact, people didn't even care about. They were saying there's no need for Spence to even have a rematch with Crawford. And the funny thing about it is when Spence said at the end of that fight that he definitely want the rematch, but at 154. Everybody was like, it don't matter. It don't matter what weight class they fight at. He gonna beat him anyway. So, okay, now he's at 154. Why are people changing their song and dance as far as just to make an excuse for Crawford to fight him again because they feel like it's another easy win? So why does it matter now all of a sudden? And now, because of, they thought by now he already fought Canelo, win, lose, or draw, whatever happened, but he already beat Spence, right? So the fact he beat him already, they're confident he'll do the same thing again. And this is what I'm saying. So separate the fighter and what the fighter's views are from the idiot fans. And I have to say it like that because the fans be just all over the place saying a bunch of stupid shit. And they don't be thinking about the reality of what the fucking fighter wants. Man, that dude is not trying to fight 9 more times, man. You never hear him talk about Floyd Mayweather. You never hear him talk about breaking Floyd's record. You never hear him talk about none of these things that the fans are talking about. It's just the fans talking and they want to see certain things happen. But anyway, you know, whatever Crawford decides to do, that's on him. But Crawford already made it known he only want 2 more fights, and that's the rematch with Spence, which doesn't like is ever going to happen, and a fight with Canelo. But let the fans tell it. He got another 9 to 10, not just 9 more fights. He got another 9 years in the sport. Let them tell it. And, you know, they want to see him do this. They want to see him break that record. They want to see him do this and whatever. And Canelo fans want to see Canelo do this and Canelo all that. Like, man, listen. I'm so glad I'm free from being anybody's goddamn fan. Even if I want to see a fighter win over another one, if they lose, I really don't give 2 fucks. And anybody who knows me knows that. I don't care, and none of it's personal. I just like to see a good fight. But at the same time, listen, you never know who's going to win these fights. Shit does happen. And I just feel like when you start trying to appease the fans and you already know Crawford ain't caring. What do you say? I'm at a point in my career where I could do whatever I want. I don't care who like it or how they feel. Fuck them. Did he not say that? Okay, so all them fucking fights from you Crawford fanboys that y'all think he won and then y'all think gonna happen? Nah. Now he's letting you know that they're not happening. He knows what he wants to do, but y'all on some other shit. Anyway, talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out to people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.